Welcome, everyone. My name is Cheyenne Zenger. I'm the Director of Athletics and Recreation at the University of New Haven. On behalf of the University of New Haven and President Stephen Kaplan, I'm honored to welcome Governor Lamont. As well as other state leaders to the University of New Haven for this important announcement, including Josh Elliott, Chair of the Higher Education Committee, and our own state representative, Dorinda Borer, who also is a New Haven alum and adjunct faculty member. So welcome for coming across the campus. I truly believe that what has become the most pressing issue facing college students in Connecticut and across the country is protecting and preserving their mental health. Like Governor Lamont, President Kaplan has been a visionary leader throughout the pandemic. Thank you. He recognizes that the ongoing impact of COVID-19, unrest, and division across our nation and social media have created challenges and obstacles that, frankly, older generations did not experience as college students. Despite the many challenges facing our state and our world, the University of New Haven has been able to attract 2 of our largest incoming classes over the last 2 years. I believe that this is a testament to the opportunities and the resources we offer our students at our university in and out of the classroom that have long proven to prepare our graduates to be leaders. Our continuing charge is ensuring that as educators, we continue to raise awareness and understanding to the importance of protecting the mental health and the resources that are available to enable all our students to thrive in and out of the classroom. Again, I thank Governor Lamont for making this important investment that will make a profound and far-reaching impact on college students across Connecticut. Thank you and welcome.
Good morning, everyone. I am Ophelia Rowe Allen, and I am the Dean of Students here at the University of New Haven. I'm grateful to Governor Lamont has chosen our campus to announce this important new emergency education relief fund to support college students' mental health. The COVID-19 pandemic has led to unprecedented disruptions to students' academic journeys and creating a significant impact on their mental health. The demand for mental health services has grown significantly and has shown no signs of slowing down. In particularly, BIPOC and other underrepresented students are experiencing mental health issues because of the unique barriers and challenges they face. At the University of New Haven, we have proactively reached out to our students to offer resources and personalized support. It is critical to connect with students before they reach a crisis point or require clinical care. The initiative created by Governor Lamont will help universities be more progressive in their approach in integrating mental health wellness in the classroom, the curriculum, and other academic and co-curricular offerings. The University of New Haven welcomes this opportunity to create new initiatives to help students develop the resilience and coping skills they need to manage the challenges they will encounter now and in the future, as well as academically and personally. We stand ready as a resource and to provide the personalized support to address student needs now and in the future. Thank you for giving us this opportunity.
Hello, my name is Liz Surratt, a senior mathematics major at this university. My pronouns are she, her, and it is a pleasure to be here today. I believe our experiences in our environment are directly related to our mental health. Take a physical scenario in which a turtle was to be placed in a desert. I think we can agree it would have a difficult time adapting based on what it knows, which may lead to stress. Students entering the new and unfamiliar climate of a college campus can have a similar experience. And without question, the impact of the pandemic has added new challenges. Mental health is just as important as physical health. A friend once explained mental health to me by saying, if you were to break your arm, going to a doctor is necessary for it to heal properly. Furthermore, if you have a chronic medical condition, you'd see a specialist in that field. Similarly, there are times in which one crisis phone call can save a life, or booking appointments can give you a more healthy relationship with yourself than you could have ever imagined. A great starting point is addressing stigmatized views about therapy, normalizing talking about mental health, and prioritizing the needs of therapists so they can meet the needs of their clients. If there was no knowledge about the climate or medical field, where would we be? We must prioritize mental health just as we have come to give other disciplines the attention they deserve. In my eyes, it is essentially a backbone of our ability to function on a societal level, like a collective whole of well-being. Counseling and psychological services have this knowledge and are the experts on healing the heart and mind. What an invaluable resource that has helped me and countless other students. In closing, mental health is vastly complex and so intertwined within our daily lives that I struggle to do it justice within these few minutes. What I can say with confidence is that I would not be where I am today without counseling and psychological services. However, in my experience, there is not enough staff who are educated and trained to help students. Given the college is a time of identity discovery, self-questioning, and growth, there is a far greater need for mental health resources than some may realize from the outside looking in. We are self-doubtful, insecure, prideful, creative, beautiful people who are still learning. Education in college can go far beyond the classroom setting and can involve serious self-growth. I see the potential for counseling to better the lives of many more students. Imagine how impactful it would be to meet more students' needs and give them the rich soil, sunlight, and water that anything so organically beautiful will need to grow and expand.
Thank you so much, Elizabeth. Those are very wise words. I'm Nancy Navarrete. I am the Interim Commissioner at the Department of Mental Health and Addiction Services. Thank you for having me here with you today. I would like to thank Governor Lamont for his unwavering commitment to ensuring the availability of and equitable access to mental health supports for anyone in need at any time. This includes our students, as they have been impacted by the stresses and mental health challenges driven by the ongoing COVID-19 pandemic. I would also like to thank Tim Larson, Executive Director of the State Office of Higher Education, who is the lead partner on these grants, all of the esteemed members of the legislative delegation, and our hosts here at the University of New Haven. We truly appreciate your support of and participation in this very important initiative. In response to COVID-19 pandemic, colleges and universities have had to adapt and innovate many of their student services in order to continue to meet students' needs. One of the most pressing needs, as we have just heard, that has been identified is working with students' mental health and their access to mental health services and supports. The pandemic has taken its toll on the mental health of many college students. The transition from online classes at home to in-person classes has made it more difficult for some to adjust to a new routine. Mental health challenges in students can present themselves in many different forms. It's different for everyone. In Connecticut, college counseling centers report increasing demands for counseling, primarily for anxiety and depression and other social and developmental challenges, but also for a variety of more serious mental health concerns such as suicidal thoughts, addiction, eating disorders. These increasing demands are taxing available resources. According to a recent study which surveyed tens of thousands of college and university students across the U.S., 41% of students screened positive for depression over the spring semester, and 34% screened positive for anxiety. Along with our work to fight the stigma, which Elizabeth mentioned, associated with mental health issues, we also need to ensure students are aware of the resources available to them and how to access them. This program that we're talking about today, the Connecticut Campus Mental Health Program, will enhance DEMAS's work with the Connecticut campuses. DEMAS currently works to create and sustain healthy college campus and community environments through our Connecticut Healthy Campus Initiative. Members of this initiative include individuals from campus community coalitions throughout the state. We provide funding to facilitate meetings for campus representatives and community partners, training for its members. We administer grant funds to campuses, as well as using our federally funded opioid response grant to create a plan that creates comprehensive network of prevention and intervention activities to reduce risk across the state, including college campuses. 18 Connecticut institutions of higher education have received funding to implement on-campus activities that will positively impact the campus community environment, including information dissemination and training on medication safe storage, safe medication disposal, training for faculty, staff, and students on opioid overdose and Narcan administration, public awareness activities, opioid misuse prevention education, and a survey to assess the level of substance use on campuses. The Connecticut Campus Mental Health Program will engage leadership, faculty, staff, and students in creating holistic, supportive ecosystems that will provide an additional layer of support for student mental health and represents an important opportunity to reach the 85% of students who do not engage in college-offered counseling. DEMAS is proud to stand with all of the stakeholders here today to assist our institutions of higher learning in providing mental health support during this stressful and uncertain time. Thank you so very much. Governor?
I am Representative Josh Elliott. That's 2 L's, 2 T's. I'm the chairman of the Higher Education Committee, and I represent Hampden. So, as the chair of this committee, it's important not just to look out for the professors and the ecosystem, but it's also important to look out for the students and think about what we can do to ensure that they have the best access to education. And viewing it through that lens, if the kids that are on campus, or really folk generally that are on campus, don't have access to good mental health services, they're not going to be able to learn. It's hard enough to just wake up in the morning. It's hard enough to just feed yourself, let alone to open up a textbook and read hours and hours of text. For that reason, our purview as legislators and as, well, I can't speak for the governor, but I imagine the governor is on board with this as well. It's providing the resources for the students of our universities and our college campuses to ensure that kids, and again, folk that are on these campuses, have access to these services so that they can do the best they can to learn. And with that, I kick it over to my colleague, Representative Boer.
Thank you, Josh. And first of all, welcome everybody to West Haven and for choosing University of New Haven to make this great announcement. As Shane mentioned, I'm here today, yes, as a state representative, but truly in the role as a professor here at the University of New Haven. I teach 4 classes. I have about 75 students, and I also happen to be the mother of a college student, 20 years old. And between those 2 roles, I see firsthand the challenges that our students face every day. They have financial pressures, they have social pressures, they have academic pressures. And for some of these students, in particular freshmen, it's really their first time away from home. So their independence is being challenged. We see complications in their education from those mental health challenges. And just Monday, I referred 2 students to mental health services. And I want to thank the University of New Haven, who's very good about sending those resources out to the professors so that we could disseminate it to the students. From the very first time the governor was elected, one of our first conversations was the governor said, what do we do to help students in higher education with their mental health needs? And I want to thank Representative Elliott as a leader on higher education because we passed a lot of legislation this past session, which came out of work of a task force group, which was made up of colleges and universities across the state that really were studying the gaps in mental health services. And two critical components that came out of that, one was to make sure every university and college has a formalized plan in place to make sure there are no gaps in health services, mental health services, but also to have a memorandum of understanding with community-based services, because the capacity is so large at the universities. We want to make sure that there is backup services and that we have a place to refer the students to. So, and having funding to back up all these critical needs is immeasurable. So I thank the governor for his leadership. I thank Representative Elliott for his leadership, and I thank the university for all that you do. Thank you.
All right, well, thank you, Professor Bohr, for inviting me to your amazing campus. University of New Haven is gorgeous. And I'll just pick up from what I heard. We thought about COVID, and then we heard about long COVID, and long COVID are the long-term effects. And we used to think about long COVID in terms of long-term respiratory issues. And I think we are also being made aware that mental health is one of the symptoms of long COVID, and something we are dealing with head on as we get through this COVID pandemic. And we are getting through it. You know, yesterday was distressing. You saw the infection rate pop up to over 8%. Today it's below 6%, if you call it 5.98, below 6%. And we're going to be bouncing around a little bit, but there is going to be a backside to this. And there's a backside to this because we know that the boosters work. We know that the boosters shut down each of these variants as they come and hit us. And we know that the people of Connecticut are doing the right thing. I'm just turning the clock back almost 2 years when we were first getting hit by COVID. And I used to listen and get summaries of the 211 hotline calls. And, you know, back in March, April, the calls were, will I survive? And then later on in the summer, the calls were, where the heck's my unemployment check? But throughout and accelerating were the calls we got from young people. Young people who, you know, we call it quarantine, but they called it isolation and loneliness. And just calling up the 211 hotline, looking for somebody to talk to. And, you know, Elizabeth, we didn't always have trained therapists on the other end of the line. We also had a peer and another young person, another friend, and somebody that you could talk to. And then you realize how this mental stress has impacted us, you know, across society. And you heard it in those 211 phone calls. You see it in a lot of incredibly bad behavior. Airplanes, in restaurants, in high schools, fisticuffs. You see it in some, you know, juvenile crime. I'm afraid you see it, as Nancy was saying, in addiction. You see it in terms of thoughts of suicide, and our phones are burning off the hook. And that brings us back to University of New Haven and college students. This is a group that maybe I was a little slow in focusing on in terms of what the incredible needs are, but the needs are real. And so what we're doing today is announcing, not just simply announcing a $2.3 million grant to make sure that we focus on the very best practices, make sure that the universities have some of the additional federal funding, have the resources they need to bring in, you know, trained therapists, to bring in counselors, to bring in coaches. I mean, as I was saying, I, you know, was a young person and maybe some stigma about necessarily going to a therapist. I've always had a coach. And I think what people sometimes need is that trained supervision. Sometimes they need a coach. Sometimes they need a teacher. Sometimes they need a friend. And if I could just urge each and every one of you, be a friend and reach out to that fellow student, reach out to that roommate. Listen, that makes an enormous difference. And we're going to do everything we can in terms of the real resources we need on campuses like University of New Haven to make sure, Elizabeth, that you and your friends not only are getting through what's going to be a great senior year for you, but get through in a way that you're happy, that you're able to learn, and you're able to look out for others. And I think that's one of the messages that we've heard over this last 2 years of COVID. If we look out for each other, we're going to do this together. We're going to get through this together. And mental health is just one more of those long COVID symptoms that we're going to make sure we deal with head on, with no stigma, with honesty, truth, and compassion. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you, Governor. That was extremely well put. Thank you to all the speakers and for your support during this time. Elizabeth, wonderful. Dean Roe Allen, thank you. To the media and to our guests, this is an important day in the history of our state, our university, and most of all, our students. Thank you from the bottom of my heart to the University of New Haven, and have a good day.
If you want to ask a question.
Oh. Yep.
Yeah, the question was, here we are at University of New Haven. We see a lot of similar stress and distress at the high school level. And in fact, we've had some school closings. The two are not directly related, by the way. Some of these closings related to people making threats in social media, which I consider the equivalent of yelling fire in a crowded theater. And obviously, we have to err on the side of caution. But to your bigger question, we're providing all the counseling services we can and other resources at the high school level, just like we're talking about here at the college and university level. We've had a couple of, a lot of stress, a lot of fisticuffs. Look, 90% of the kids were just so happy to get back to school. But for some of the kids, it was incredibly stressful. We thought being with your friends was going to lower the temperature, but in many cases, it raised the temperature. And right now, we're working on that at the high school level as well, and even earlier, because I want kids to be able to get back to school. I want them to get back to school safely and healthily. The percentage today is just under 6%, which is 5.98%. I think the better news is that the reports over the last day or so is that while the vaccine can lose some of their effectiveness over time and make you a little more susceptible to Delta, now Omicron, the booster is very effective, and that's the message we're putting out loud and clear to all ages. That good? Well, we're in a very different place than we were a year and a half ago, where we didn't really have any tools. We didn't have obviously, we didn't have vaccines. We were short of testing, and now we have, Pfizer and Merck therapies that will be available very soon. We also have, same-day at-home testing. So we have many more, arrows in our quiver than we had before. So if before we did have to, restrict access and big groups getting together, I don't see that as being necessary this time around. But curveballs are thrown by the COVID pitcher every day, Coach. So you got to be ready to see what they throw our way. Look, our emergency rooms have been jammed by kids, young people seeking professional help. So we're doing everything we can, and maybe Nancy can speak to this as well, you know, raising rates, making it easier, making sure we have more beds, making sure we have those trained specialists necessary to deal with those severe, you know, mental health issues. But more broadly than that, what we're talking about is, you know, counselors, social workers at the schools. We've opened up apprentice teachers, so rather than your third year of teacher college, you can be in a classroom. That's not a peer, but it's a mentor and somebody to help as well. And I think sometimes we just need more friends. This particular program is a $2.3 million grant. That's on top of a lot of other federal resources that have come to the you know, college and university system. Anybody else? Thanks, everybody.